Hello, my name is Finn Bernard, and I read the book Hiroshima by John Hersey for my book log, and I'm going to be doing this short presentation on the effects of radiation on the human body. So first, the symptoms of radiation poisoning. The first initial symptoms of radiation sickness are vomiting and extreme nausea. The severity of signs and symptoms of radiation sickness depends on how much radiation you've absorbed. In the case of a high exposure to radiation, symptoms can appear minutes or days after the exposure. Some possible symptoms include nausea and vomiting, diarrhea, headache, fever, dizziness and disorientation, weakness and fatigue, hair loss, bloody vomit and stools from internal bleeding, infections, and low blood pressure. Next to the radiation dosage, which is really going to depend on basically what your survival rate is. Category 5 means that radiation doses are dangerously high and potentially lethal. Category 4 means that radiation doses are dangerously high and can make people seriously ill. Category 3 means that radiation doses are becoming high enough where we may expect increased risk of cancer in the years ahead for people who are exposed. Category 2 means that radiation levels in the environment are higher than the natural background radiation for that geographic area. And then Category 1, which is the most minor, means that radiation levels in the environment are within the range of natural background radiation for that geographic area. So even if you weren't close to the center of the bomb, many people in Hiroshima were diagnosed with Category 3 and did have a high risk of cancer in the coming years. How it kills. The cells and organs that are the most vulnerable are the ones that helps with reproducing, such as DNA. The rapidly dividing cells of the bone marrow is the most susceptible to radiation damage. When a person is exposed to around 100 rems, the blood's lymphocyte cell count will be reduced, leaving the victim more susceptible to infection. Radiation kills off small blood vessels and nerves, which can cause a victim to go into seizures. Radiation damage the intestinal tract lining, destroy the cells in the body that divide rapidly. These including blood, GI tract, reproductive and hair cells, and ultimately harms their DNA and RNA of surviving cells. And then the long-term effects. One of the deadliest aspects of radiation poisoning is the long-term effects that come with it if you were to survive. The most common is cancer and blood diseases such as leukemia and lymphoma. Among those who were within about 900 meters of the hypocenter and received more than 2 grays of radiation, 120 victims of Hiroshima have died of cancer. Also, the mental health aspect of it, just having to see all these bodies being burned and awful things happening to people's bodies. That's also a traumatic aspect of what Hiroshima victims had to live with. And here are my citations. Thank you for listening.